Brookland is Live starts right now with breaking news.
And good to be with you. I'm Jackson Mitchell. Time now 2 p.m. It is Monday, January 26th. Good to be with you. We do have a lot to cover. We, of course, are continuing our coverage of this winter storm. It's now exited Arkansas, but now brings in the cold temperatures. Taking a look at your 3-day forecast, what things are going to look to shape out with is Brookland Public Schools has already canceled school for now the second day. Tonight, we're expecting a low about 7 degrees as you go into Tuesday, a high of 28, a low of 10, cloudy skies by Wednesday. Pretty much the same picture. It is going to be a little warmer when we talk about that overnight lows, a high of 28 and a low of 15. Live there at the RDOT camera in Brookland, showing some slushy road conditions. The question is, will that freeze overnight? Roads look pretty okay, though, if you're traveling throughout the day, as the sun has made its way out. Current temperature in Brookland about 20 degrees, though it feels like 22. Something we, to say the least, haven't quite seen in some time. Of course, due to the fact it has been, just simply put it, so cold, and we've seen feels like temperatures dipping into the negative. So of course we're going to keep a look on all of this. We are learning, though, that the death toll has grown in all of this. 14 people have died. Of course, this storm is not only affecting us right here in Arkansas, but a large part of the nation, going all the way up to DC and New York City. We're learning the homeless population in New York City was also affected, of course, by the deaths here in this storm. Want to take you, though, to some footage we are getting in, of course, because I can't say enough how it's not only us right here, it's in other places. Because take a look at this footage. This is in Oxford, Mississippi. A reporter was doing a stand-up, and he shows you this footage. These are icicles in Mississippi. They received at least 1.5 inches of ice, almost the biggest places that received this ice. Look at that, dangerous. It's causing lots of power outages as well. So that's been something to look at. We're going to talk about that here in just a moment. We do want to get to first, though, your misery map if you're traveling in the air, because it has not been something that has looked pretty in these last few days. I'll tell you from what I've seen, give me one moment, from what I've seen these last few days, it has calmed down just a little bit. Almost every part across the country was significantly red. And give me one moment as I prepared this map to show it to you guys. But again, what I was just saying is, at one point in time when we were showing these maps to you yesterday, almost the entire nation was covered in red. I'll take out the graphic there, so you can see Miami, but every airport right now across the entire U.S., I would argue, except Seattle, which is either in the far northwest portion of your screen, top left, I should say, but they're the one place it's not saying many impacts right now. You're looking at about 1,039 delays so far today, 508 cancelizations. The question is now going to be about rebooking your flights, how airlines are taking a part of that, because now they're going to have a big line of people that were expected to travel during this winter weather, and now, of course, they are being told to having to rebook, and there's now, what I mean is there's a line of people waiting to get their flights back together. I do want to talk also, of course, about the power outages. We were just talking about it a few moments ago. The Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas, they posted these photos to their social media pages saying they are helping those in Mississippi right now, of course, during all of this that they are facing. A look right now at poweroutage.com showing you the states facing significant outages right now. Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, we're seeing the Carolinas, Georgia, West Virginia, Virginia, Kentucky. They're all there in that map. They're facing some outages. Want to give you an update, of course, on Arkansas, though. Only 321 customers are without power right now. We did see a few thousand previously, which, of course, it's good note to see that Arkansas did handle this weather so nice, even though we did receive ice in far portions of southern Arkansas. So a lot to talk about still with this winter storm. Now we've entered the portion of the cold part, and the question is, when can we all get back to our normal lives? Likely going to be tomorrow, when a lot of people got to return to work, got to return to school. Not for students at Brookland schools, and a lot of schools across Northeast Arkansas. It's going to be interesting then, because I'll just tell you, when you live in a rural part, I'm in the city, but when you live in a rural portion of Brooklyn, those county roads, nobody's coming to plow your gravel road. So that's the question here now. As the snow and ice have now moved out and the cold temps are moving in. We do also have some more breaking news that we are following right now. A plane crash in Maine has left 7 dead. This is as they were seeing impacts from this storm as well. So I want to take you now to some footage we are getting, and this is from WABI, the local station. They are just showing you how brutal it really was. You see what appears to be maybe some fire extinguishers, a large first responder presence there. A Bombardier, rather, Challenger 600 business jet crashed off of takeoff from the Bangor International Airport in Maine, killing 7 people and injuring a crew member. The crash occurred during a snowstorm, and the airport will likely be closed for several days. The Federal Aviation Administration and the National Transportation Safety Board are investigating this incident. So we're all over that poor part of this story, and we are following it right now. Okay, so a lot of stories we're tracking right now. I'll put up our kind of what we still got coming up. We just talked about those 2 stories there, that plane crash uh and um and the snow and ice. Now we're on to the cold temps. We're going to talk when we come back about Minneapolis. So, a big incident there. The White House has just finished a press briefing. We're going to show you some clips of that. We're going to break down all of that because a man, Alex Preddy, was shot there. Video says something different than what the law enforcement officials are telling us. We're talking about that. Plus, are you still experiencing TikTok issues? I was last night. We're talking all about that. What that's all about. Of course, they just got sold now to be US. And Hamas releasing its final hostage to Israel. What that means. We do have some positive stories as well coming up a little later in the hour. A lot coming up. You're watching Brooklyn News Live. We're going to sneak in a quick break here. Alrighty, welcome back here live into Brooklyn News Live. Still good to be with you. Of course, we are going to turn our attention right now to a shooting that occurred in Minneapolis. early Saturday where Border Patrol agent shot Alex Preddy, he's 37 years old. Video now contradicting what law enforcement officials are saying right now, but we are learning in a briefing held earlier today by White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt that Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota and the president had a phone call. Take a look.
With Governor Walz directly this morning, and he has outlined a clear and simple path to restoring law and order in Minnesota. Number one, Governor Walz, Mayor Frey, and all Democrat leaders should turn over all criminal illegal aliens currently incarcerated in their prisons and jails to federal authorities, along with any illegal aliens with active warrants or known criminal histories for immediate deportation. Number two, state and local law enforcement must agree to turn over all illegal aliens who are arrested by local police. And then thirdly, local police must assist federal law enforcement in apprehending and detaining illegal aliens who are wanted for crimes, especially violent crimes. If Governor Walz and Mayor Frey implement these common sense cooperative measures that I will add have already been implemented in nearly every single other state across the country, Customs and Border Patrol will not be needed to support ICE on the ground in Minnesota. ICE and local law enforcement can peacefully work together, as they are effectively doing in so many other states and jurisdictions. Additionally, President Trump is calling on the United States Congress to immediately pass legislation ending sanctuary cities once and for all.
That was Caroline Leavitt there. Taking a look now at protests from last hour, a school walkout there from just a little bit ago, again last hour in Minneapolis. We're tracking every angle of this story as well. Therefore, we want to show you some video. Before we do, of course, we do want to warn that this video may be disturbing to some viewers here. So the video, you're going to see it. We're going to break it down for you. We're going to play, it's two videos. The first video, it shows you a little bit before. It doesn't show the shooting. The second video will show before and the shooting. And we're going to show you, of course, what officials are saying and why this video contradicts what they're saying. Take a look.
Things got buried. Yeah, I'm rolling your windows. No, you're let's go around.
As I said there, it's a little complicated and hard to watch. I want to now play. So, MS Now, a news organization, a cable news, formerly MSNBC, they did an analysis of this all. I want to play that for you. Again, they're going to show this video. Viewer discretion remains advised here. Let's roll the video. Let's roll their analysis of all this.
So we've got two other protesters here interacting with a federal agent. Here you've got Alex Preddy. He emerges into frame in a brown jacket, black cap, tan pants. In one hand, he is recording. In his right hand, he's recording with his phone. His left hand, you can see, is empty. And what you can see is he's waving traffic through. You can still see the other two protesters who are interacting with the agent. Preddy's still in the street, okay? He's waving a car through. Watch this. He's inviting cars to pass by. DHS said that Petty approached agents with a gun. This video seems to show otherwise. Okay, as the video continues, Petty is now going to be walking toward the other two protesters and the federal agent with whom they're interacting across the street. The camera that's recording, you can see it jostles around a little bit. But then we see Petty. That's him right there. Okay, you see him appearing to help one of the protesters. Then he's hit with what appears to be an irritant. We've seen a lot of these federal agents carrying pepper spray in and around Minneapolis. So take a look at this. All right, so here, let's be clear on what we've got. We've got federal agents all around. There's a protester here. This is the person whom Petty appears to have been trying to help. This is Petty right here. He's got his back to the agents.
So there we go. There's an analyzation of the video. As that reporter, that's Ali Velshi there, he noted that there was kind of some differences. The DHS said that he was approached, but the video reveals he was helping another woman, and then the Border Patrol agents, officers, I should say, approached him. Here is Kristi Noem responding to kind of the backlash between all of this. This is the Department of Homeland Security Secretary, again, Kristi Noem, on a Sunday show on Fox News. Take a look.
We know in this investigation into the shooting death of Alex Preddy, but I want to have you walk our audience through what exactly you know. So you said last night, it looks like a situation where an individual arrived at the scene to inflict maximum damage on individuals and to kill law enforcement. Did he say, I'm going to kill you, or did he know that was his intent?
You know, part of this investigation will be hearing from those agents and officers and people on the ground, but we do know that he came to that scene and impeded a law enforcement operation, which is against federal law. It's a felony. When he did that, interacting with those agents, when they tried to get him to disengage, he became aggressive and resisted them throughout that process. These officers used their training, followed their protocols, and were in fear of their lives and the people around them. And that's how this tragedy unfolded, and we hope we never see it again. It grieves me to think about what his family is going through, but it also grieves me what's happening to these law enforcement officers every day out on the streets with the violence that they face.
There is an angle of the video that we've been playing all morning where it shows an officer removing a weapon either from Alex Preddy's waistband or a holster, and he walks away with the weapon before officers start shooting. It appears that Alex Preddy was disarmed. If he was disarmed, is it the protocol to use deadly force?
And that's all part of this investigation. Every video will be analyzed. Everything will be looked at. And that's part of the answers, that I can't speak to every single thing that those officers thought, but this happened in seconds. They clearly feared for their lives and took action to defend themselves and the people around them. If you watch that and you listen to those videos, you can hear someone yelling, gun, 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 and those agents and officers reacted to that. So as this investigation goes forward, all of that will be analyzed.
It'll help them unmute my mic. So she's not really directly answering the question, because she originally alleged and kind of alluded to call him a domestic terrorist. Now she's kind of, I don't know, not fully contradicting that statement, but she's not reaffirming it, that's for sure. This is what the White House is saying about all of this, and they're all blaming this on the Minnesota governor, Tim Walz, and the Minneapolis mayor, excuse me, Jacob Frey here. So take a look. This is, again, earlier today at the White House press briefing.
A couple more. Go ahead.
Okay. So this weekend the president posted that this is a cover-up of the fraud in the state of Minnesota. He also posted Minnesota is a cover-up. These both happened after the shooting. So given that these came after the shooting, what is the this here? What is the cover-up he's alleging?
Yes, it's a good question. I spoke with what the president is referring to is the fact that you have Governor Walz and, again, the mayor, who have been encouraging these left-wing agitators to come out and to harass and to dox and to threaten ICE and to make this conversation about and smear lies about federal law enforcement, who, again, are just trying to do their jobs in an attempt to distract from the widespread, massive fraud that has taken place in their state. Billions and billions of dollars has been stolen from law-abiding taxpayers in Minnesota, and the administration continues to be very focused on getting to the bottom of it, and especially, and the president raised a good question over the weekend with respect to Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, who now has a net worth within the millions, and one must ask themselves, why and how is that possible? Is she connected to the fraud rings that we have seen taking place within her state and her own district? It's a question the American people are raising, and the president believes it's one worth answering.
So you hear Caroline Levitt essentially saying that the reason this is all happening is because of the fraud, and essentially that the governor and the mayor of Minneapolis are kind of trying to distract and amplify ICE being there. Trump is also weighing in on all of this. He's speaking out in a Wall Street Journal interview released yesterday. He says, quote, "But I don't like it when somebody goes into a protest and he's got a very powerful, fully loaded gun with 2 magazines loaded up with bullets also. That doesn't play good either." Of course, they have alleged this entire time, including FBI Director Cass Patel, who has alluded that bringing a weapon to a protest, even though Preddy had a concealed carry license, is illegal in Minneapolis and Minnesota. I should refer to it as. There is no law that restricts that from our research here at Brookland News. So again, Alex Preddy, there has been multiple kind of inconsistencies and contradictions from what we have seen in the videos and what Trump officials and Trump administration officials are saying to the public. So I also now want to play the Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hare, who the White House this entire time has said is blocking, or the mayor or someone within the city of Minneapolis is telling the police that they can't help out when it's necessary. Not only that, but they're not helping out at all. But the police chief, Brian O'Hare, essentially says we're stretched thin and we're doing the best that we can. Take a look.
Well, unfortunately, we don't have any official information from federal law enforcement about what has happened. Even when our officers initially responded to the scene, our watch commander was not given even the most basic information that is typical in a law enforcement involved shooting, just to ensure that there is potentially no other victims. Since then, the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension responded to the scene at my request. They were blocked from the scene yesterday, but they have since returned to the scene and are now canvassing for and evidence that may be there. People have had enough. This is the 3rd shooting now in less than 3 weeks. The Minneapolis Police Department went the entire year last year recovering about 900 guns from the street, arresting hundreds and hundreds of violent offenders, and we didn't shoot anyone. And now this is the 2nd American citizen that's been killed. It's the 3rd shooting within 3 weeks. People have been speaking out, saying that this was going to happen again. And I think everyone is kind of waiting for folks on both sides to come together and just figure this thing out. This is not sustainable. This police department has only 600 police officers. We are stretched incredibly thin. This is taking an enormous toll trying to manage all of this chaos on top of having to be the police department for a major city. It's too much.
Are you calling?
So that is Police Chief Brian O'Hare there. The next question that she asked that we missed a little piece of, but she says, "Are you calling for ICE to exit the city?" He says, "No, but you guys are outnumbering us," essentially. They're, of course, paraphrasing. We do have a statement coming in from Alex Preddy's parents. They say, and I'm going to read the entire thing here. They say, quote, "We are heartbroken but also very angry. Alex was a kind-hearted soul who cared deeply for his family and friends and also the American veterans whom he cared for as an ICU nurse at the Minneapolis VA hospital. Alex wanted to make a difference in this world. Unfortunately, he will not be with us to see his impact. I do not throw around the hero term lightly. However, his last thought an act was to protect a woman. The sickening lies told about our son by the administration are reprehensible and disgusting. Alex is clearly not holding a gun when attacked by Trump's murdering and cowardly ICE thugs. He has his phone in his right hand, and his empty left hand is raised above his head while trying to protect the woman. ICE just pushed down, all while being pepper sprayed. Please get the truth out about our son. He was a good man. That's the statement coming in right now um from the Preddy family. Now, news organizations, including ABC News, drawing parallels to a shooting that occurred back in 2020 with Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse, he was a 17-year-old at the time from Illinois. He gained national attention in 2020 after shooting 3 men during the Kenosha unrest. Of course, you remember that came after a killing there. When he shot those 3 men, that led to 2 fatalities. He was acquitted of all charges back in November of 2021 after he argued self-defense. Here's that report coming in from ABC News.
It's a stark contrast to what many Republicans, including the president, had to say about Kyle Rittenhouse, seen here carrying an assault-style rifle through Kenosha, Wisconsin in 2020, before opening fire, killing 2 men. He was acquitted on the charges. President Trump called him a very nice young man.
So there's that report there from ABC News, drawing parallels to this entire incident to others that were rather not against Republicans, but for Republicans. So maybe that's of course why I mean that's why there's a parallel there. But also the border patrol commander at large, kind of the chief of border patrol, Greg Bavino, he's speaking out in a CNN interview, and it gets kind of heated. Here's just a few clips from that. This is with Dana Bash.
Video that we have seen shows him documenting it with his cell phone, which is a lawful thing to do. And the only time he seemed to interact with law enforcement is when they went after him when he was trying to help an individual who law enforcement pushed down. So where do you have the evidence to show that he was trying to impede that law enforcement operation?
Sure, Dan, at first he was there in the scene. He was in the scene actively impeding and assaulting law enforcement to the point.
But that's not illegal. He wasn't Dana, impeding it. He was filming it, which is a legal thing to do in the United States of America.
Dana, let's don't freeze frame adjudicate this now. He was there for a reason, and that to
what
the
evidence
point.
Do you have of that?
And here's a good point, Dana, is the fact that de-escalation techniques were utilized during this action. Those de-escalation techniques, whether it was physically trying to remove them from that law enforcement scene, that active law enforcement scene in which law enforcement were going after a violent illegal alien, or the use of pepper spray, which is another de-escalation technique. Those techniques did not work. Officers always try to use the minimum amount of force necessary to either effect an arrest, which in this case was more than likely 18 U.S.C. 111, assault on a federal officer, or
where did he assault a federal officer in any of the video that you have seen? Because it looked to us from every angle, sir, that he was approached by them when he was helping another individual who was pushed down. What evidence do you have that he was assaulting any law enforcement?
Dana, we don't need a suspect's help in an active law enforcement scene.
When you say suspect, what is he suspected of?
That's an active law enforcement scene. He knew that was an active law enforcement scene, especially when the officers approached him, and it's very evident he did not need to be where he was, and he decided on his own to stay there.
So when somebody is pushed down and a person's instinct is to help that person, when somebody's pushed down by law enforcement, you're saying that you just stand back and let law enforcement do what they're doing? I mean, is that really human nature?
You know, Dana, every situation is different. What our officers are faced with here in Minneapolis are chaotic, very difficult and violent situations in which individuals, and this suspect is not the only one to bring a loaded weapon to a riot. The situations are chaotic and ever-changing. Follow directions for law enforcement. Don't inject yourself knowingly beforehand into a law
But
enforcement
with
situation.
With respect, it feels as though in some ways you're blaming the victim here.
The victims are the Border Patrol agents. I'm not blaming the Border Patrol agents. The victim are the Border Patrol agents. The suspect put himself in that situation. The victims are the Border Patrol agents there.
So you see Dana Bash from CNN, they're clearly pushing back, not getting many answers, direct answers at least. You hear him there saying they used de-escalation tactics and attempted to calm him down, and that he was impeding. The video again alludes that maybe that appears to show that maybe that wasn't the case, and that he wasn't. He was videoing from the background, and he was an ICU nurse. We were listened to in that another story from the, I should say, from the statement from the Preddy family. He was an ICU nurse, and he was trying to help another woman who had gotten into a situation with another ICE official, and they had walked away. It appeared that they had, in the video, had been away from that situation, and that is when Preddy approached the woman that had been pushed down and was trying to deliver aid. Also, we watched in that clip from MS Now a few moments ago, where it appears that that gun that he did have the license to carry legally was removed. The question now I'm asking, I mean, was there miscommunication? Is that why maybe he was still shot even though he had no weapon? I think it's a very valid question to be asking at this moment in time. There's so many questions. People are very clearly outraged. This is a school walkout from literally last hour in Minneapolis. There's so many questions that just remain. And it's the fact that within moments, the DHS Secretary Kristi Noem was saying that this was a domestic terrorist, even though now we're getting video. And I mean, for us, we are only able to rely on your videos. If there's something more than that, then I think law enforcement officials should come out with them, but they're not. A lot of news to come. We're gonna sneak in another quick break. When we come back, we're gonna talk about that TikTok outage. Is it still going on? I believe in some places they're still reporting it. We're also gonna give you an update what traffic looks like. We got a lot still to come. You're watching Brooklyn News Live. And welcome back here into Brooklyn News Live. I'm Jackson Mitchell. Of course, still good to be with you. We're continuing to take a look there on the left side of your screen, now full screen, at a protest from just hours ago, a school walkout. This comes after not a lot of school children are being reported to even be going to school, as they are fearing possibly being in a situation with ICE and Border Patrol officials. Now the question is on funding for the Department of Homeland Security. The House passed a funding bill. Now the question is in the Senate, after multiple senators are coming out and saying no, we're now going to vote no. This is Chuck Schumer, who's the Senate Minority Leader. He's saying, quote, what's happening in Minnesota is appalling and unacceptable in any American city. Democrats sought common sense reforms in the Department of Homeland Security spending bill, but because of Republicans' refusal to stand up to President Trump, the DHS bill is woefully inadequate to rein in the abuses of ICE. That's just one person in the Senate. There's also Republicans. This is a Republican in the House. Thomas Massie, of course, he has broken with the president a lot, just speaking in recent weeks here. So this is Thomas Massie on X. He's saying, quote, carrying a firearm is not a death sentence. It's a constitutionally protected, God-given right. And if you don't understand this, you have no business in law enforcement or government. Many Republicans questioning what ICE is doing and saying maybe should we pull ICE out? Still, of course, we're following every aspect of this story. Again, the shooting of Alex Preddy sparking even more outrage. The third person to be shot, the second fatally, of course, Renee Nicole Good, back, I believe, just a few weeks ago, possibly over a month now, was shot and killed in her car. We covered that so deeply, but as this situation continues to grow, we want to make sure we're continuing our coverage on that situation there. We are going to turn to another story right now because we are getting some reports that TikTok is facing an outage right now throughout the U.S. Data centers now being reported to be at the center of this issue. TikTok users have been reporting issues with the app to sign in, login problems, lagging, repetitive content, and some other problems posting videos, going live, things like that. The U.S. has just reached a deal in recent weeks with TikTok to, of course, avoid that ban. There's also been reports by some TikTok creators, and we're learning through multiple sources that data centers were affected by the winter storm that is still going on right now, and that is what's bringing a lot of these issues. We have not fully confirmed that just yet. TikTok hasn't said really anything on all of this, but we do, of course, want to make sure you guys are staying up to date on that. If we get more information on this outage, we'll bring that to you. In the meantime, though, we're going to sneak in another quick break. You're watching Brooklyn News Live. Alrighty, time now 2:38 p.m. here Central Time. Still good to be with you, of course, continuing to bring you your top headlines, all the news you need, and so much more. I'm Jackson Mitchell as we continue our coverage on Brooklyn News Live here. We do want to turn right now to some more news that we're getting in. This time it's overseas. We are learning that Israel has released I should say Hamas has released its final hostage, unalived, said to begin the path to a new second phase of this ceasefire that's currently in place. Of course, speaking about the ceasefire, it comes amid allegations of a ceasefire breakage, essentially, a ceasefire violation. Israel's military claimed its forces struck suspects who posed a threat to the safety of troops. The recovery, though, of this body clears the way for the second phase of the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. The hostage you're seeing there on your face is Ran Vili. He was, again, held the longest there. Hamas spokesperson Hazam Qassam said the recovery of Vili's body confirms Hamas's commitment to all the terms of the agreement to halt the war. Gaza, which is Hamas-run Ministry of Health, says more than 71,000 people were killed in the territory during the wind. Of course, again, it creates an international stabilization force, forcing a technocratic Palestinian government and disarming Hamas. So we're going to be following this story as you continue to take a look at that photo of Ron Finley there on your screen. Again, paving a way to a second phase of this ceasefire. I want to bring you back in right now. Having some difficulties there. Why don't we take you through a look at your traffic right now? We did it at the top of the hour. There's a look at the roadways once again. That's a look in Brooklyn. Here's a look in Little Rock. This is an incident that has been going on for quite some time. Tow trucks, and it looks like that camera may have fixed itself, so it might be over. But east of Crystal Hill Road at exit 148 on I-40, there was an incident there involving a truck off the Tiger Freeway. It appears he is back on, though, so that is good news there. That was going on for quite some time. Of course, accidents being reported across the entire state of Arkansas. Full screen there at iDrive Arkansas. You'll see those little red caution signs. I see two just near the Memphis area. That is where an incident of some sort has occurred there. So we're following, of course, that and road conditions right now. But right now, again, in Brooklyn, I mean, they look pretty okay for driving on those busier streets as the sun is peaked out, causing some of the snow to melt just a little bit. The question is, will it refreeze overnight? Of course, with those overnight lows we were talking about again at the top of the hour. So traffic, of course, going to be the focus of a lot of people throughout these next few days as they return to work and school. As I was noting earlier, Brooklyn Public Schools closing now for the second day. Doing a turn to some more news that we are getting in right now. If you'll give me 1 second for it to get it ready for you so we're able to show it to you. There we go, and that's looking good. Let me make sure. Okay, so Grok AI is at the center of some controversy right now because they are being alleged that AI, you can basically respond to anyone's X post and say, at Grok, do this. And people are doing that to make inappropriate images of women and children. I want to play this NBC News package here. 1 second. Let me set it up so I'm able to click play and pause. I want to play you guys this NBC News package. You can see it now on your screen, and I'll pause and kind of go through it as we see it. So here it is. Let me turn the audio up on it. Okay, let's play it.
Tonight, Elon Musk's AI chatbot Grok coming under fire from regulators across the globe over a rise in non-consensual and sexualized deepfake images of women and children.
I was disgusted and horrified.
Conservative content creator Ashley St. Clair, who has a child with Musk, says she's seen countless
So this is a woman, as you just heard him say, she has a child with Musk, and Grok is making inappropriate images of her.
Explicit photos of herself on the platform.
I immediately asked Grok to stop. Grok said, I received your request. I will no longer produce these images. And of course, there were only more requests to produce more explicit images of me, including ones of photos of me when I was underage, and Grok obliged and produced all of these images.
And some have been removed, but others remain on the site. And she's not alone. An influx of explicit content coming after Grok recently enhanced its image generation abilities with a new model last month. An analysis from the European nonprofit AI Forensics finding.
So this is still a problem, even though you asked Grok to stop. According to this report, according to this lady who has a child with Musk, she said it keeps going and people can post more images of you and then ask, and it still doesn't.
More than 50% of images generated by Grok between December 25th and January 1st were non-consensual sexual images, primarily targeting women, and 2% of them depicting a person who...
That is a big number. I mean, the 2% part, that's not, but the 50% of inappropriate images of a person, whether of age or not, is still not appropriate. But at least it's only 2% for dissipating a picture of someone 18 years or younger. Let's keep listening.
Or younger.
With Grok, imagine you can turn any of your pictures into videos.
An NBC News review of Grok's output finding though many of the inappropriate images have been taken sexualized images of non-consenting parties.
I found that Grok was producing at least a dozen. People were commanding the chatbot to take people's clothes off, basically. And it's become such a meme, and so many people are doing it.
And actually, with my, I haven't used Grok, but I have seen, I am on X, so I have seen that, and they're asking, say, remove her outfit and make it tape, so it's clear tape. And that's kind of what the idea of what he's kind of saying is. Let's keep listening, though.
Now tonight, growing calls for action. Ofcom, the UK's communications regulator, saying that they have made, quote, urgent contact with X and XAI to understand if there are any potential compliance issues that warrant investigation. Meanwhile, officials in India and Brazil have also expressed concern, with Brazil's federal deputy calling for the suspension of Grok in the country.
It's really difficult to go and outright ban technology. We really need to be doing is seeing governments talk to those big companies like Meta and X and.
So sorry we're having some loading issues with the video, but I'll just pause it there with what he's saying. He's saying it's hard to monitor content like this. Let's keep playing it, though.
And work quickly.
Musk responding to the mounting criticism, posting on X that anyone using Grok to make illegal content was anyone uploading it, though Musk also using Grok to make a deepfake version of himself.
I hate to pause it at this point in time, but I do believe if that is true, what Elon Musk is saying there, you're going to face the same consequences if you just post an inappropriate image to a certain person online. Necessary, of course, things like this, there's going to be problems with AI. It's very new to us still, so we got about 1 minute left of this package. Let's keep playing it.
Self wearing a bikini, calling the chatbot creation perfect. Musk and XAI have not responded to NBC comments.
All right, with that, Gadi Schwartz joins us now. Gadi, our viewers are going to be watching this and be in shock at what is...
Alrighty, so that's, again, what they're saying. Things look like over on Grok. Yeah, of course, again, at the center of a lot of attention, a lot going on there. So we're going to talk about... I would just say keep our eyes peeled on that story. Why don't I give you guys an update? Because I know we've had some new information come in since we last left you. So I'm going to give you an update on power outages really quickly. Of course, I want to make sure we're keeping a look on everything. Let me zoom. I'm going to zoom this in this time, though. There we go. Give me one moment, you guys. Here we go. Look at power outages from poweroutage.com. Same states experiencing the same kind of outages. I'll tell you the blue. Let me scroll down because I have a key. Here you go. You can see the key now on your screen. So the blue is 10 to 50,000, which to be experiencing weather like we are right now is relatively low. If I'm just thinking about it from my eyes, I mean, Arkansas has about 3 million citizens. So imagine 10 to 50,000. That's not a lot when you look at the entire state. Excuse me, the entire state is one. Texas is experiencing that. Same with some state. You're going to see Kentucky, West Virginia, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. And then you got 100K to 500K in Louisiana, Mississippi, Texas. I showed you an image earlier. I'll pull it up one more time for you. The Arkansas Electric Cooperatives has announced that they are headed there and are already there helping them out in Mississippi and the surrounding areas, of course, as they're experiencing that issue as well. We are going to sneak in a quick break once again here, though. Thanks for watching, you guys. We'll be back with it's a good story, so stick with us. It's not so sad. guys, welcome back into Brookland News Live. So good to be with you. So we've got a good story coming up for you right now. So first, I want to take you right now live out to iDrive Arkansas. I'm going to do this every kind of top of the segment here. I want to make sure we're getting the news to you here. This will look right now. That's live in Brooklyn there as we continue to track what the weather is going to shape up for and look like for us in the next little bit. But we do have a good story for you. So let me do this. Okay, so these Buddhist monks, you may have heard about them. They're doing this walk for peace. They are from Texas, and they're on a 2,300-mile pilgrimage from Fort Worth to Washington, D.C. Take a look at the video. This is them. This is the story, you guys. They're continuing their walk during this entire winter storm. This is a look at them in North Carolina. Of course, they've been escorted by police throughout all of this. They've been joined by a dog named Aloka, and they're spreading a message of peace, unity, and mindfulness. It's called the Walk for Peace for a reason, guys. They're aiming to have Buddha's birthday recognized as a federal holiday. The journey, which began back in October, late October, October 26th, last year, y'all, is expected to continue into February. So it's just a positive story. I mean, they're continuing their walk through a winter storm. So rain, sun, shine, they're going on. These photos are by Travis Long. We got them via Facebook. So there you go. And you can see they take flowers. They take all types of things. I've seen them a lot on TikTok. I don't know if you guys are on the same side of the For You page as I am. But they're making a walk all the way to Washington, D.C., as they're going to be asking for this all to be a federal holiday. So we'll see what that looks like once they get there. We talked about them. Actually, we haven't talked about them yet on Brookland News Live. Now we have to. Do want to turn to another story. So we've been following the Minnesota man that was dead, killed, Alex Preddy, a little earlier in this hour. Well, now there's been 2 court hearings today. The first one, the Minnesota Attorney General speaking out. It's on the use of force of ICE. It is a federal hearing. This is last hour and Minnesota. This is Minnesota Attorney General Ellison. Let's take a listen.
Stood up in front of the court today and made the case for Minnesota that our state has every right to have our own laws, have our own policies, and that the federal government doesn't have any right to try to flood us, threaten us with retribution, and to coerce the state of Minnesota into complying with Trump policy. At the end of the day, I stand here with Renee Good in my heart and in my mind, and with Alex Preddy in my heart, in my mind, and their families. Together with other people who have suffered racial profiling, unfair detention, together with every business person whose business has been shuttered because of this, on behalf of every student and every parent who can't get their kids to school because they are afraid of the federal government. On behalf of our city partners in Minneapolis and St. Paul, who have incurred tremendous increase in costs responding to this ICE escalation. They tell us, and this is their words, this is the single largest deployment of immigration officers in one place at one time. In a state that is not even in the top of immigration. What justifies this disproportionate flood? Nothing legitimate, but the president has been clear. Retribution, he's been clear. He's going to, we didn't vote for him. He was really salty about that. And it's unjustified and illegal, and we are praying for the relief that the state of Minnesota needs from the court. And I want to thank the court for listening so carefully. And I just want to thank all of the lawyers and all the staff who came before us today. I'll give my colleagues a chance to make any comment they want, and then we'll answer a few questions, then we got to get back to work.
We got the opportunity today to make our case in court. I think we made a strong one. The federal government has not denied our allegation of pervasive and widespread illegal conduct by these 3,000 federal agents who are masked and heavily armed. And we hope that the court will respond to our request for an immediate injunction.
I just want to take a moment and say thank you to the courageous people of Minnesota and the courageous local media in particular, and the legal observers and the many who are documenting many of the facts that we have found so fundamental to bringing this case to court. We can't simply ask the court to look around or look outside. We have to bring that story into the courtroom. And every day, the courage of people who have come to our office, come to the ACLU, and come to other attorneys to help put those stories to paper or to photos or to videos, it's been critical. And so thank you to everyone who is doing that courageous part of us bringing something that's both profoundly constitutional but also profoundly human to a courtroom.
So folks, I respect you, believe that. But we do have a bunch of work that we got to get back to the office to do. So we're going to take about 5 or 6 questions and just contact Brian Evans at my office if we need to do any follow-up. Brian Evans, brian.evans@ag.state.mn.us. So we're going to have to go in a minute. We'll answer a few, but then reach out to Brian.
Attorney General, if I could just ask you, the judge seemed to focus on a couple of things. Pam Bondi's letter, and also the president's social media post about a day of retribution. She appeared, especially with talking about the Pam Bondi letter, she appeared critical. Is that the way you saw it, and do you think those two things are helping your case?
Let me just say, I think that the judge is incredibly bright and is focusing on the critical issues. I'm not sure what to conclude or based on her questions, but it appeared to me, and I got the sense that she understood the issues very well. And I'll just say on my own behalf that the Pam Bondi letter it kind of reveals what this is all about. This is not about fraud, and it's not even about immigration, and it's certainly not about law enforcement. It's about handing over documents of the state of Minnesota, private information, including voting information, to the federal government. That's what this is about. And that's why we're fighting it.
Do you mind just briefly summarizing what the legal argument was, both the retribution argument and then the 10th Amendment argument that it prevents the state from conducting its own public safety, public health? Just can you put that in a nutshell, what you expanded on in court, just to help us out?
I'll let my colleague jump in here.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So I'll respond mainly with just describing the coercion argument. So basically, our Constitution creates a split sovereignty, right? We have the federal government as one sovereign state, and then we have the several states who are separate sovereigns. Critical to that, and in a series of rulings from the Supreme Court, is that the federal government cannot coerce the states into legislating, and they cannot conscript state officers or state employees into administering a federal program. And that is exactly what we...
Alrighty, you are listening to Minnesota officials react, take questions there after a federal court hearing, the first of 2 there. We'll continue monitoring that story. Of course, in Minnesota, we brought you extended coverage right here on Brookland News. So, want to take you, wrap things up really right now. Time now 2:59 here. Remember, y'all, you can join us every weekday. We'll probably be here, really. Usually we're not here actually every weekday, but sometimes we missed a few days just for other things that are going on. We might actually be here every single day. We'll see. Again, weekdays, 2 p.m. Catch us here. You're watching Brookland News Live. It's been so good to be with you. We'll be right back here tomorrow with continuing coverage on all the top stories. That does it for us, you guys. Have a great day.